You might believe that respect is lost in loud arguments or in obvious mistakes, but the truth is far more unsettling. Respect doesn't vanish in a storm. It dissolves in silence. It slips away so quietly that you don't even notice it leaving until the absence is undeniable. That is why this message may shock you. Right now, in the middle of your daily routines, in the things you don't even question, there are small habits that are stripping you of the dignity and recognition you deserve. Habits that feel harmless, habits you might even think are polite or humble, but in reality they are training the world to ignore you. Imagine walking into a room and people smiling, nodding, listening, but when decisions are made, your voice carries no weight. Imagine offering your thoughts only to see them dissolve into the air as if you had said nothing. That sense of invisibility doesn't come out of nowhere. It is the price of habits you have repeated without awareness. And what's most shocking is that those habits are not loud. They are not dramatic, they are silent, almost invisible, until they have already taken their toll. This is why you need to hear this message now. Because if you wait until the damage is obvious, if you wait until everyone has already learned to overlook you, it will take twice the effort to rebuild what you could protect today. Respect is not about forcing others to obey you. It is about the quiet authority that makes your presence undeniable. And that authority is built or destroyed in the smallest choices. If you are tired of being dismissed, if you are frustrated by giving and giving while others seem to walk over you, this is your moment of clarity. What I'm about to show you is not something you'll hear every day. Most people go their entire lives never understanding why they lose respect, blaming bad luck or difficult people, when the truth was within them all along. You are different, because by being here, you are choosing to see what most people never dare to look at. Before we move forward, I want you to ask yourself something. Have you ever felt that quiet sting when your boundary was ignored, but you stayed silent to avoid conflict? Have you ever laughed at a joke that cut too deep because you didn't want to seem uptight? Have you ever found yourself over-explaining something simple just to make sure people didn't misunderstand you, only to realize that no one was really listening anyway? If you answered yes, then this message is already speaking directly to you. And that's why I invite you to stay with me until the very end. What you are about to hear has the power to change the way people respond to you, but more importantly, it will change the way you respond to yourself. Respect begins in the mirror. The world only echoes what you show it, and if you want to change what the world echoes, you need to start here, now. So before we dive in, I want to make a small request. If at any point during this message you feel that spark of recognition, that sharp moment when you think, "This is me," don't just keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone else who needs to wake up from these silent habits too. And make sure you subscribe, because this isn't just about one lesson. It's about building an entirely new way of carrying yourself, step by step, until the respect you lost is not only regained but multiplied. This is a journey, and this video is only the beginning. Now let's move with honesty and without delay. There is no need for fluff, no need for vague promises. You didn't come here for empty words, you came for clarity, and that is what you will get. I'm going to show you exactly how these silent habits work, why they destroy your respect, and what they reveal about how you treat yourself. This won't always feel comfortable, because the truth rarely does. But the discomfort you feel now is far smaller than the pain of living unseen, unheard, and unvalued. So let's go straight into it. No detours, no stalling, no wasted time. The truth is waiting, and so is your respect. The first silent thief of respect hides behind what seems like kindness. It is the habit of saying yes when every fiber of your being wants to say no. You don't even notice it at first because it looks like generosity. You don't want to upset anyone, you want to be agreeable, you want to avoid tension. So you nod, you agree, you accept the invitation, you take on the responsibility, you bend just a little. But what feels like a small compromise is actually a signal, and people pick it up faster than you imagine. Every false yes teaches others something dangerous, that your boundaries are not real. They learn that you don't mean what you say, and they act accordingly. One day it's a small favor, the next day it's an expectation, and before long you are buried under obligations you never chose, resenting the very people you were trying to please. The silent lesson is this: when you betray yourself, The world follows. Respect evaporates not because people are cruel, but because you showed them there was nothing to respect. Think of it like a wall. A wall is solid, it stops you, it defines space, it commands awareness. But when you say yes against your will, that wall crumbles brick by brick, until what was once strong is now just dust people can walk through without resistance. And here is the part that cuts the deepest. The resentment that builds inside you doesn't stay hidden. It leaks into your tone, into your energy, into the way you move through life. People sense it, but instead of seeing strength, they see weakness. They see someone trapped in their own compliance. And when that becomes your pattern, your respect doesn't just fade in one area, it fades everywhere. Your family takes it for granted, your friends expect it, your colleagues exploit it. All because of the silent yes that should have been a no. Then there is the way you carry yourself, the unspoken language that tells the world how to treat you before you ever open your mouth. Walk into a room with your head low, eyes darting to the floor, shoulders curved inward as if you're apologizing for existing, and people will hear the message loud and clear. You don't believe you belong. The tragedy is that this isn't about arrogance or ego, it's about presence. Respect responds to presence, and presence is communicated in silence. When you shrink yourself, people unconsciously shrink their recognition of you. They overlook you, they dismiss your input, they bypass you. Not because they've decided you are unworthy, but because your own body has already told them so. Respect is contagious, and if you don't catch it from yourself, no one else will catch it either. Imagine for a moment two people walking into the same meeting. One enters quietly, but with their head lifted, their steps steady, their eyes meeting others with calm steadiness. The other rushes in, apologizing with their posture before they even speak. Both could say the exact same words, but who will be remembered? Who will be taken seriously? This is why respect is not simply about words. It begins long before words are spoken. The silent habits you carry in your body shape the atmosphere around you, like invisible waves that either command attention or erase it. Another invisible way respect erodes is through over-explaining. You may think you are being clear, thoughtful, considerate, but what people hear is uncertainty. Every time you pile justification upon justification, every time you add endless details to prove your point, you send a message that you don't trust yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, why should anyone else? Words lose weight when they are buried under too many of them. Authority dissolves when every statement comes with an apology attached. People respect clarity, not because it is loud, but because it is confident. A simple statement delivered with calm conviction commands more attention than 1,000 explanations delivered with nervous energy. Consider the difference between saying, "I believe this will work," and saying, "I think this might work, but I'm not sure. And maybe we could also try something else, because I don't want to be wrong." One carries conviction, the other carries fear. One draws respect, the other loses it. And the cruel irony is that most people who over-explain are not weak at all. They are often intelligent, capable, thoughtful, but their need to be understood becomes a trap. The more they explain, the less people listen. The less people listen, the more they explain. And so the cycle goes, silently draining away the authority that was always theirs to begin with. Each of these habits alone is powerful enough to shift the way people treat you, but together they weave a web that traps you. You may think the problem is out there, in the world that doesn't value you. But what if the truth is that you have been teaching the world, silently, how to ignore you? That realization is painful, but it is also the most liberating truth you can face. Because if you are the one teaching the world, you are also the one who can teach it something new. You can choose to say no when you mean no. You can walk with your head lifted, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. You can stop burying your words in endless explanations and allow them to stand on their own. Respect isn't lost forever. It is waiting to return the moment you change the lessons you give in silence. The beauty of this is that it doesn't require dramatic transformation overnight. It requires awareness, intention, and practice. The next time someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, notice the instinct to agree and pause. The next time you walk into a room, check your posture, your eyes, the way you move. The next time you feel the urge to justify yourself endlessly, stop and let your words breathe. These small acts may seem invisible, but they are louder than you can imagine. They are the building blocks of respect, and each time you practice them, you reclaim a piece of what you thought was gone. There is another silent habit that corrodes respect in ways few people dare to acknowledge. It is the act of tolerating disrespect disguised as humor. You've experienced it before. Someone makes a joke at your expense, a light jab that everyone else laughs at. You smile, you force a laugh, you tell yourself it's not worth creating conflict over something so small. But inside it stings, and every time you let it pass, every time you pretend you don't care, you are giving permission for the line to be crossed again. What begins as a single harmless comment grows into a pattern, until you realize you have become the easy target, the one people use for their amusement because you never push back. Respect doesn't vanish because someone mocked you. It vanishes because you taught them that mocking you comes without consequences. Silence in this case is not noble, it is an invitation. Think of how many times you have sat through a conversation where someone made you the punchline, and afterward you replayed it in your head, wishing you had said something. You imagine what it would feel like to draw a line, to look them in the eye and calmly but firmly say, "That is not acceptable." But in the moment you stayed quiet. The world reads that silence as acceptance, and soon it isn't just about jokes. It becomes interruptions, dismissals, subtle exclusions, all growing from the same root. The respect that should shield you is chipped away by your own lack of defense. And the cruel irony is that the laughter you fake in those moments doesn't make people admire you more, it makes them value you less. Because if you don't protect your own dignity, why should anyone else protect it for you? The last silent habit is one of the most underestimated, and yet it has the most devastating impact: neglecting your own word. You make promises lightly, you say you'll do something, but life gets busy, distractions pile up, and you let it slide. You may think people forget, you may think it doesn't matter, but every broken word is like a fracture in the trust others place in you. Alone, one fracture seems insignificant. Over time, the fractures multiply until the entire structure collapses. Respect is built on trust, and trust is built on consistency. If your words cannot be relied upon, then your presence cannot be relied upon either. People may still like you, they may still enjoy your company, but the deep respect that makes your voice matter in the moments that count will not be there. Imagine someone who says, "I'll call you tomorrow," but doesn't. Who promises, "I'll take care of this," but forgets. Who assures, "You can count on me," but disappears. You don't even need to be angry at them, but slowly, unconsciously, you stop expecting anything from them. Their words no longer carry weight, because they have separated their words from their actions too many times. That is what happens when you neglect your word, and the most dangerous part is not only what others see, but what you begin to believe about yourself. Each broken promise chips away not only at their trust, but at your own self-respect. You start to see yourself as unreliable, and when you don't respect yourself, the world mirrors that back to you. At this point, you may already feel the sting of recognition. Maybe one of these habits sounds painfully familiar, maybe more than one. And if that is the case, let me remind you of something essential. You are not broken. You are not doomed to live without respect. What you are is human, and these habits are human traps. Almost everyone falls into them at some point, but only a few are willing to face them honestly and change. And that is where your power lies. Because while respect can be lost in silence, it can also be rebuilt in silence. The same habits that eroded your dignity can be replaced by new ones that restore it. A firm no where there used to be a false yes. A steady presence where there used to be shrinking posture. A clear statement where there used to be over-explaining. A calm defense where there used to be nervous laughter. A kept word where there used to be excuses. Each small shift is a step back toward yourself, and the world cannot help but respond. But this isn't just about habits, it's about something deeper, something profoundly human. Respect is not only a social currency, it is a reflection of how we see ourselves. At its core, this is not about getting others to treat you better. It is about you treating yourself as someone worthy of that treatment. When you stop betraying yourself with false yeses, when you stop apologizing for existing, when you stop justifying your every word, when you stop laughing at your own humiliation, when you start honoring your commitments, You are telling yourself, I matter. And when you live as if you matter, the world begins to see it too. Think of the relationships in your life right now. The people closest to you, the people who share your daily space. How would things change if you carried yourself with the weight of self-respect? How would conversations shift if your words came from conviction instead of fear? How would your presence feel if you walked as someone who knows their boundaries and honors their promises? This is not an abstract idea. It is a choice you make every day. A choice to stop feeding the habits that destroy you and start practicing the ones that build you. And the truth is, very few people ever make that choice. Most live their entire lives unaware, blaming others, repeating patterns, never realizing that the respect they crave is within reach if only they stopped giving it away. That is why this knowledge is rare. Most people will never hear it said so clearly, because it is easier to tell you to be confident, to speak up, to act strong, than it is to uncover the quiet ways you sabotage yourself. What you have right now is not just advice, it is insight. You are among the few who see the invisible strings that control so much of life, and once you see them, you cannot go back. That is your advantage. That is your gift. You are not like the rest who wander blind. You are awake now, and with that awareness comes a responsibility. You can choose to ignore it, to keep living the way you were, or you can embrace it and transform the way people see you forever. And here is where everything comes together. You have seen the habits, you have felt the sting of recognition, and now the tension grows because once you know the truth, you cannot unknow it. Every false yes, every lowered gaze, every endless explanation, every nervous laugh, every broken word was not just an isolated mistake. Together they form a pattern, and that pattern shapes the way people see you. This is not small, this is not subtle. This is the difference between being someone who moves through life unseen and someone whose presence demands recognition. And the shocking reality is that most people never realize they are the architects of their own invisibility. They keep pointing outward, blaming others, when all along it was their own silent habits tearing down the respect they deserved. But this is also where hope burns the brightest. Because if it was you who unknowingly created the cracks, then it is you who can repair them. That is why this moment matters. The next conversation you have, the next room you enter, the next promise you make, each one is a chance to rewrite the story. Imagine the power of saying no with clarity, without guilt, and watching as people pause and adjust because they realize you mean it. Imagine walking into a room with calm presence, your shoulders lifted, your eyes steady, not shouting for attention but radiating it naturally. Imagine stating your thought in one clear sentence and watching it land because it carries conviction. Imagine calmly ending a joke at your expense with a single look or a firm word that shifts the entire atmosphere. Imagine keeping your word so consistently that people trust you without hesitation. That is what respect looks like when it returns, and it is not far away. It begins the moment you stop giving it away. But here is the truth you must face. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If you keep repeating these habits, respect will continue to dissolve until you no longer even remember what it feels like to be taken seriously. That is the cost of delay. Respect cannot be postponed. It cannot be put on hold while you hope circumstances improve. It must be claimed now in the small decisions that shape your life. If you wait, you are teaching the world to keep ignoring you. If you act, you are teaching the world to see you again. That choice is urgent because every day you wait, the habits dig deeper into your identity, and the longer they live in you, the harder it is to break them. That is why you cannot afford to shrug this off. This is not theory, this is your life, your relationships, your influence, your self-respect at stake. So let this be the turning point. Let this be the day you stop laughing when it hurts, the day you stop saying yes to things that crush you, the day you stop drowning your words in endless apologies. Let this be the day you start carrying yourself as someone who matters, because you do matter. You have always mattered. You simply forgot, and the world mirrored your forgetfulness. But when you remember, when you choose to act from that place of self-respect, the world has no choice but to remember with you. Respect flows from the inside out. The world only echoes what you already believe. And now I want to leave you with a question that only you can answer. Which of these silent habits has been stealing the most from you? Which one are you ready to face today? Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Share it in the comments, because speaking it aloud is the first step to breaking it. And when you do, you won't just inspire yourself, you will inspire someone else who reads your words and realizes they are not alone. That is the power of honesty, the power of community, the power of taking the first step together. If this message has opened your eyes, if it has shaken something inside you, don't let it fade when the video ends. Share it with someone who needs to hear it too, because respect lost in silence can only be restored in awareness. And make sure you subscribe, because in the next video I will reveal something even more powerful, the single shift that makes people see you differently instantly, even if they never respected you before. You do not want to miss it. This is not just about habits, this is about your life. Respect is not optional. It is the foundation of your relationships, your influence, your peace. Without it, everything else crumbles. With it, everything else becomes possible. And the time to reclaim it is now.